Hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be here. I'm glad you all are here, and I want to raise an important matter to you today. I want to talk to you guys about kids and Bitcoin. Now, as you might have realized from how I look, I am a kid, so it's pretty easy for me to talk about this. To be precise, I was born after Bitcoin came to the world. To be even more precise, I was born at block height 117523. That's back in April 2011, for those of you who weren't aware. It's kind of crazy. A person born after 2010 being able to present on a stage like this. My world is in the information age. I use video streaming instead of paying for international calls. I don't go to video stores to rent a movie. I use electric cars instead of traveling in gas cars. And I have a mobile phone instead of a separate camera. And of course, I use Bitcoin because fuck banks. So, I'd like to talk to you from a perspective of a Bitcoiner that you might have not heard before, the perspective of a native birth Bitcoiner. Unlike others, since I was born in 2011, Bitcoin came to the world before I was born, so I never lived in a world without it. Lots of people born around the same time as me, unfortunately, still don't know about Bitcoin. But I'm lucky that my dad is a Bitcoiner and gave me Bitcoin at a very young age and that I learned about it, and I'm still learning about it growing up whenever I have the opportunity to. So that leads us to our next very important question. Can kids actually use Bitcoin? Well, the answer is right here. Yes. Bitcoin can't stop you using it, no matter who you are. As a 12-year-old, I can't open a bank account because, oh no, she's too young. She won't be able to manage money. Or, oh no, we can't give that to her yet. She's just a kid. But Bitcoin doesn't give a shit about your race, doesn't give a shit about your gender, and certainly doesn't give a shit about your age. Bitcoin accepts everyone. So, this is me paying in Berlin for ice cream, paying in Dresden for some bread rolls, tipping someone in Los Angeles, and paying for McDonald's in San Salvador. Another common question I get is, well, since you are a kid, what are some differences between growing up with Bitcoin versus witnessing its launch? For me, it doesn't feel like something new as it does for others. It's obvious to me that Bitcoin is the best money ever created, and it's obvious to me that there's a limited supply of 21 million and all the other basic knowledge. No coiners don't want to get this knowledge or just don't get the knowledge. I know how Bitcoin works more than fiat. Usually, adults think it's complicated to learn about Bitcoin, but it really isn't if you grow up with it. I never went to some finance school where I learned about fiat. I learned mainly about Bitcoin, and I know more about it than any other fiats, and don't even get me started on cryptocurrencies. I don't want to learn about them, I never have. So, and before anyone asks, yes, I do know how euro, dollars, and stuff works. I live in Germany. Unfortunately, it's impossible to go there without using fiat, so yeah. But I don't have a bank account. I never want to have a bank account, and I hope I never have a bank account. And yeah, I have no interest in those like, oh, give me your phone number for free Bitcoin, or oh, click on this link for free Ethereum. No. To me, growing up with Bitcoin, it's obvious that that's a scam. So to all of you bots in the audience, stop scamming me. How can I talk about kids and Bitcoin using the broad term of kids if I'm only talking about myself? The answer is I can't. So I've interviewed some of my classmates for you. All of my classmates have, of course, all heard of Bitcoin. Some of them from me, some of them from others. I'm going to quote when I asked what do you think of Bitcoin? I'm going to quote what my classmates said. So one of my classmates thinks it's a good way to make money apart from any other job you may have. I think it's an interesting technology, but it still needs improvement. I don't exactly know. It is good and it is bad. 2/3 of my classmates are aware that Bitcoin transactions can't be censored, and one of my classmates thinks it's a climate killer. Climate and economics are both big interests for my classmates, and finance and technology less so, but still represented in their answers. And around 2/3 of the kids don't know what inflation is and aren't aware that Bitcoin doesn't have inflation. So they do have a lot to learn. But luckily, I'm there to teach them. Most kids said that they do know more about Bitcoin after talking to me about it. So, The main question is, a lot of the time getting asked to me, is how do I get my kids interested in Bitcoin? Well, the main point is do not think it's overly complicated. Like I said, if you grow up with it, it's kind of a natural thing. And please, bond with your kids through Bitcoin. There's so many aspects of Bitcoin. There's economics, there's climate, there's mathematics. There's so much you can talk with your kids about Bitcoin. So, yeah, if you don't know what your kids' interests are, I'm sorry to say, but you're probably failing as a parent. Most parents should know what their kids' interests are, what their name is, what their age is. Please tell me that you do. Yeah, something that I like is books. I'm a big reader. And different ages of kids like different books. These are just some books that I picked out that I like for different ages. And please don't take my age recommendations too seriously. Please don't think you can't read a 5-year-old a book that I say is suitable for 8-year-olds. They will probably still mostly understand it. And most kids do develop at different rates. So, yeah. There's A Place in the Blockchain. It's a great book for kids to about the age of 7. It's about a block trying to find friends, and it finds its place in the blockchain. Then there's 99 Bitcoins and an Elephant. It's a fun book about a girl who loses her augmented reality goggles and gets new ones with 99 Bitcoins on it. I'm jealous. This book is probably good for around 8 to 9-year-olds, and I read it first when I was 8. Then there's Billy's Bitcoin. This is a story about Billy who uses Bitcoin to avoid getting his lunch money stolen at school. This is probably good for around 9 to 10-year-olds because I know that's from experience that's a lot when the bullying sort of happens. And I read this one first when I was 7. Then, of course, there's Bitcoin Money, A Tale of Bitville Discovering Good Money. This is by far the most educational and by far my favorite of the bunch. Its lessons are really easy to understand, and almost any age of kids does understand the basic concept of it. For kids to properly understand it, though, they might have to be around my age. I read this first when I was 8. I read it to my class. I loved it so much. I still reread it, even today. Now, I'm also, of course, interested in reading books written for adults or older kids about Bitcoin, but that's, of course, just because I'm passionate about it. And don't leave out that door thinking, oh, no, my kids don't like reading, so this isn't important. Kids have lots of interests. I love games. There are some really cool Bitcoin games, like Satsman is over there in the gaming area, but don't rush out quite yet. I'm almost done. Please bear with me. There's, of course, also fun games by Zebedee and Bitcoin Bounce by Thunder. And big shout out to Shamory. I played it. I love it so much. Yeah. Some kids, like me, also love the environment. There's a lot to learn about Bitcoin environmentalism. Just to quickly get off of my presentation, as you can see, I blurred some of my classmates' faces because that's a really big part of why I'm interested in Bitcoin. I love that there's privacy and consent, and that's something I'm passionate about and try to use it in everyday life. And yeah, Bitcoin itself has so many aspects. There's technology, mathematics, energy, finance, economics, climate. See how your kids react to each of these aspects, and maybe there's something they can get really interested in too that they didn't even know exists today. And now I want to make a really big announcement, so please, everyone, listen closely. Bitcoin Kids Month. A lot of you might be thinking, what? How? Why? Who? When? I and a group of other people, parents and kids, have been working on something that we call Bitcoin's Kids Month. The idea is to get more kids involved and interested in Bitcoin. This is important because one day we kids will be running the future, and we don't want anyone for example, a new government that thinks, oh yeah, dollars, cool and all, but I want more of it, so I'm gonna just print 100 million more. Of course, with Bitcoin's limited supply of 21 million, that can't happen, but as a more realistic example, we don't want anyone thinking, yeah, okay, I want to buy fruits, but I don't know how this whole Bitcoin thing works, so I can't exactly do that. So Bitcoin Kids Month the idea is to get more kids involved, and it'll be in July. And we want to invite everyone who can get involved to please do so. That includes podcasters interviewing kids. I'm available, by the way. Maker spaces involving kids in their activities. Like there's a really cool lightning piggy that I have the parts for at home, but haven't built up yet. People producing other contents for kids, and companies thinking how they can get kids involved. And anything else you guys can think of. We kind of rely on you here. If you're interested with any ideas that you do have, or if you don't know how to help, then please just contact me or DJ Valerie on Twitter or Telegram. Kids are the future. Kids Month will hopefully be really important. This is a huge deal, and we rely on you. So, yes, that sort of already concludes my presentation. I hope you all loved being here as much as I did. Like I said, feel free to @ me on Twitter, feel free to message me on Telegram, and of course, feel free to leave a tip. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being wonderful. And of course, feel free to socialize with me after this presentation. I really like socializing. So yeah.